Morning, John.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Let's start in a minute. Please stay connected. Very good morning. Myself, Jones from Credo Systems. On behalf of Credo Systems and team, I would like to welcome you all for the webinar today. Thank you for joining the session today. So for the today's webinar, we're going to discuss about API automation. So one of our senior consultant, Mr. Madan, he is going to handle the session for today. So I request everyone to please stay connected throughout the session. At the end, you will be having a QA session to clarify your queries as well. And also you will be getting a participation certificate, and the link to share your details to get the certificates will also be shared in the comment section. So please stay connected. So without any other delay, I'm handling it over to Mr. Madan.
Thank you, John. Morning, everyone. Hope everyone doing good. Thank you. Thanks for being on time, guys. So, I just want to make my point clear over here. Anyone over here who cannot understand Tamil? Anyone? You can ping in chat or you can unmute and speak. Anyone who cannot understand Tamil?
Yes, sir. I don't understand Tamil, sir.
Okay, fine, Vish. Thank you so much. You are from?
I'm from Maharashtra, sir.
Okay, fine. No issues, guys.
I don't understand you, Tamil, sir.
Fine. Thank you, Sindhu. So you're from?
I'm from Andhra.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine, guys. So I just thought to give an example in Tamil rather than any of the session is going to be in English. But in some places it will be more effective if you speak local language. So I just thought to it, but no issues. We can proceed as it is. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Madan.
Okay, thank you, guys. See, the objective of this course is most of the peoples in industry are not aware of how much importance the API automation is going to be. Okay, so I'm here to explain you first of all what is API and what is the daily usage of API in our application that we are interacting for each and every second, see for each and every minute. So whatever application you guys are playing with your mobile or website, there is a API inside of it. Okay, so if there is something inside your computer or inside your mobile phones, then obviously it will be part of your testing cycle or development cycle, testing cycle, obviously it will be, right? So there is a huge opportunities which is there in API, but most of our guys are not aware of it. So the objective of this course is first to give a awareness of what is an API, where all we are using it, okay, and what I mean, where we can fit our API testing in our cycle, which is SDLC or SDLC cycle, okay, and very important. Maybe in 30 minutes of time, I will show you. I mean, most of peoples over here are my existing student of Selenium. Okay, and I will show you the different. If I do something in through UI, how much time it is consuming it, and if I do something with the API, how much time it is going to be. So you are going to see the time difference, so that you will understand. Okay, um, in some cases we can prefer to go with an API. In some cases we can prefer to go with the UI. Currently we are only aware of if there is a testing, then it's going to be a UI automation. That's what we are thinking on, right? But it is not the case. There is a API part as well, so we are going to see that in it. Okay, and finally we are going to end up with an opportunity. So how much opportunities that we do have in APIs. Okay, so without further ado, let me start. I hope everyone can able to see my screen. So some messages, let me, okay, fine. So who are all can learn this? Okay, so for this API and for this course alone, we are expecting a person who is joining this API, or whoever learning the API, they are expected to know some knowledge about the backend technology. So predominantly it's going to be Java, one of the highly used languages. Or if you know something about Python or C Sharp, obviously you can prefer to, I mean, you can go and learn an API, any formation, you can do that. Okay. And this session is going to have not only an automation perspective, so we are going to see something with the manual, and we are going to see how that can be done in automation with the tool, all those stuff. Okay. Fine. So we'll come this slide maybe at last. Okay. So let's start with the content now. So what is an API? So where we are using it? Okay. So if there is a UI in front of you, okay, that UI has to be talked with the backend and the database. So let's assume there is Flipkart in front of you. Okay, you logged into it. So what will happen when you enter your user ID and password and click on sign in? A call will go to backend, and the backend will do some basic validation, and then it will go and hit the database to check whether you are existing in Flipkart database. If it is, then it is going to give a response back to the UI, and based on that response, it's going to load the screen for you. So example, no user is not existing, so create, go and sign up with Flipkart. Or user is existing and this is your history, this is your order which you submitted, and this is your delivery status, and this is your wish list. Everything can be seen in the home page. Okay, so that interaction is happening through this API, which is application programming interface. Very crucial wherever we go. And I will show you. Okay, what, let's open some application and see whether that application has a API working in backend. Okay, let's see that. And everybody aware of the front end technology, which is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And if you go for the higher framework, something like Angular, React JS, so all those are client technologies. Okay, and if you enter something, the manipulation is going to happen in your backend, which is going to be it can be a Java or Python or C Sharp or Node. There is a multiple backend as well, and finally it is going to interact with your database, just to check the storage, or to validate whether it is existing, or to retrieve the data from it. So we are using a server pattern. So this will come into picture, this API will come into picture mostly with the three-tier architecture, or there is something called microservices. So, I mean, the higher technology is the one which they are using it for the API level. So maybe I will explain something more on the architecture level. Everything we'll see one by one. And from the layman terminology, how it is going to be. Okay. See, the API can be sit in the same system. Example, I have a front end and a back end. Okay. And some data is going to be transferred from your front end, which is from your Flipkart, whatever you entered, it is going to transfer to your back end. For example, if you're going to select a product, and the product has been sent it at your backend and going to say, okay, is there any discount for this product? Yes, of course. And that price is going to be retrieved by your client and going to be displayed in your UI. Okay, example, there is a t-shirt which you selected for 1,000 rupees and looks like there is a 30% discount offered. So from front end, which is your view, front end view, it is going to hit your back end and it's going to do some manipulations, which is okay, for this person, for this t-shirt, there is offer 30% and the price display is supposed to be 700. So go and display 700 for it. Okay. In this, there can be a API, or I'm going to check my user is existing or not. It is going to traverse to the backend and it's going to hit the database. And that database response, based on the database response, your backend is going to display a UI in front of your front end. So there can be a communication between front end and back end through API, and there can be a communication between your back end and your database. So API can be sit anywhere. Okay, this is from the one system. Okay, let's go for the different scenario. There is a system. Okay, there is a system called GPay. Everybody know what is GPay, Paytm, everything, right? And there is a lot of banking facilities are available, HDFC, ICICI, State Bank, everything, right? How these two systems are interacting with? Let's go with GPay. So who is the owner of GPay? Who is the owner of GPay? Anyone can unmute and speak. Let it be more interactive.
Google, right?
Obviously, it's going to be Google, right? And let's take any banking system. So my banking system is in a HDFC. So both are any relationship from the financial perspective, Google and HDFC Bank? Obviously not, right? But how come these two different systems can interact with each other? How come these two see that you are using that daily basis, right? You're going to any provision shop or any saloon or tea shop, anywhere you go, there is some barcode reader that the system is reading it, and it identified. I mean, it's going to send it to okay. This is the shop details, and enter 100 rupees for it and send it. So what internally it is happening? So it is going to talk with your HDFC bank to check this user is a valid and he has 100 rupees in his account. Then the response is going to come from the HDFC saying that yeah, that person has account holder with HDFC and there is a amount, whatever amount they entered, it is there. So the response is going to receive from HDFC to GPay, and GPay is going to tell you yeah, it paid successfully for you. Now we are going to talk about, see, this is a different system and this is from a different system. Guys, appreciate to be in mute if you're not speaking. Any questions from anyone, guys? Thank you for being in mute, guys. Okay, so this system, this GPay can build in any language and HDFC can build in any language. So how come this transaction is happening? I mean, this is building in Java and HDFC is built in some other technology. How come this both are interacting with each other and we can see the final result? Meaning is API doesn't have any language actually. API can be implemented in any language, but with the same formation. There is no change in development perspective. The way of implementation is going to be vary, but from the API perspective, it is going to be same. Okay, we are going to see that maybe in some time. Okay, it's going to be all about the resources, just like a folder structure. So my photo is there in inside a photo folder. My video is there inside a video folder. So something like that. they are going to implement the API in the same formation, irrespective of any language. So it can be in Java, or it can be in Python, or it can be in any language. Irrespective of it, your application will be working fine. So that's the simplicity of this API actually. It is not language binded. It can work. I mean, it can communicate with any language. Okay, that's what it is. Meaning, in a hotel, you are going to order it. Unfortunately, the cook, who is going to prepare for you is, it's not from your local language. Okay, so he or she belongs to a different state. Let's assume you are going to Chinese restaurant. Okay, and you are going to order for some food. Okay, there is a person is going to be in front of you, maybe a waiter, and he is kind of API. So he's going to communicate to the kitchen person who is cooking for you. So he is going to communicate with your requirement. Example, you might say that you want food without so chili, or instead of chili, just to put a pepper kind of stuff for the chili taste. So whatever requirement you are giving it, it is going to be transferred to kitchen through that API. So it is not required. You may belongs to some other language, and the person who is cooking for you belongs to some other language. The person who is getting a order from you will be a multilingual. So he can understood what you are saying it, and he can communicate the same to the kitchen person and bring that response back. So this is what API does for you. You got the one-liner, guys? You got the one-liner?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So one doubt.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, is there any restriction for API? Like, if it allows all the languages, it can do it accept all the languages? Like,
Correct. Correct. Any language, irrespective of the platform. It can be a window-based application, web-based application, any communication, communication, it can happen. Everywhere API is there. I will tell you more example with the coming slides actually.
okay.
Good question. Keep going with your questions, guys. Okay. So stop me if you have something to ask. Okay. So this is another example. Hope so everybody know who is IRCTC or Redbus or Book My Show. They're all the platform, right? So I hope everybody understood what is Redbus. Everybody worked with Redbus, right? So he is a common person. Okay. He is not holding any server belongs to Purvin or SRM, any travels which is presented, correct? But how come that person is communicating to the third person and showing you with the result whether that person is having a ticket to travel or not? So how this communication is happening? Again the API. Again the API. Okay. If you go and take a money from ATM, so you are holding you belongs to a HDFC, but you are in front of SBI ATM, and you are trying to swipe your card and get some money out of it. So how that is happening? Again an API. Everywhere in API. So without API, nothing is there in your world now. That's how it is. Everything has been transformed now to an API. So that much of flexibility is there from the development and from the implementation and the user experience perspective. That much of importance has been given to the APIs. Okay, so even the Redbus belongs to any other technology, it's going to talk with the Redbus server with the requirement. Okay, so how this will be done? Okay, I will tell you guys. Okay, let's assume I belongs to SRM Travels. I'm a SRM owner now. Okay, what I will do, uh, I will be exposing something. See, I know what to expose to the third person. I know what to expose to the third person. I will not share all my things, all my details about my domain. I won't be sharing it. I know what I have to expose to the third person. Example, I will tell you an example. Okay, you're going to SBI ATM. Okay, let's assume I'm holding a 1 lakh rupees in my account. Okay, and I'm going to SBI ATM. I don't find any HDFC ATM nearby, so unfortunately I'm going to SBI ATM to withdraw 1,000 rupees. Okay, you just think I have inserted my card and the machine is reading my buffer, which is the barcode, and it identified I belongs to so and so bank, and the call automatically will be in hold. I mean, it will identify, okay, the person belongs to HFC. Okay, let him give a credential for it. So I'll be entering my PIN. Okay, and if I click on enter, what will happen is it identified I belongs to what, which is which bank, and it identified my account number, and with that my PIN. So all these three informations will be transferred to HDFC. Okay, and once HDFC got that information, and the HDFC is going to give a response saying, yeah, this person belongs to my account holder, and what information will be transferred to SBI. If that person name is Madan and his number is 1234 so and so, and he is having a 1 lakh rupees in his account, all this information will be shared to SBI. Yes, no, yes,
No.
no,
No.
no, right? So they know what information supposed to be exposed in this criteria, because it is a data transfer. Anybody can breach it, and the person who is asking is a third person. He is one of the competitor of you, right? So if he know you are holding a 10 lakhs rupees in your account or 50 lakhs rupees in your account, what they will be doing it? They will be directly contacting you. Hey, I will be giving some additional interest for you, or I will give us some additional offer for you. Just come to my bank. This is what will happen. So being a SRM owner, I mean, I know what all things I can expose to the red bus. So if Redbus is going to ask a request saying that, hey, my name is Madan and I'm going to travel to Bangalore, okay, with I mean my number of ticket and what is my I mean my preference, all those stuff, and I mean if you just put what date, what time, and where you're going to travel, automatically the Redbus is going to send the request to all the server, whoever been binded with me, everybody I'm going to send it to them. Okay, and they are going to send the response saying that, yeah, we are having it and this is what the details. When we click on it, automatically they are going to display this is the number of seats that we are giving it for them. So you can just go and select it. This is how the communication will be happening in the red bus. So this person is, I mean, this person is going to provide the API. Okay, and the red bus is a person who is going to consume that. Okay, so this person will send the request what's been interacted, I mean contracted between them, between SRM and Redbus, what's been communicated between them. Okay, so there will be a contract. Okay, this is the information I am expecting it. So you have to say you belongs to so and so, and these are all the information, mandatory information that I'm expecting it. If you give this, I will be sending the response. If your request is not, if it is an incomplete, I will tell you the appropriate error. So there is a contractual document between them. Everybody clear how it will be developed? It's a one-liner. I'm not expecting you guys to understand everything. It's a one-liner. This is how it will be working between any systems. Okay.
Yes.
Any
Like,
questions?
yeah. So as from the customer perspective, first, we will be accessing the redbus.com, that website, and
Correct.
it will reach us to the server, and it will
Correct.
fetch the data from the travels, right? The flow
Correct.
would be the same.
Correct. What will happen when you hit the redbus.com? So it is a website, right? So there will be some IP address which will be mapped in DNS. There is a server where you have to put your domain name with your IP address. So I mean, if you directly type Redbus from my laptop, what will happen is it will go to the public IP. From public IP, it will reach us to the DNS, which is your local network. If I belongs to Geo or you belongs to Vodafone, there will be a local router for them. So it will go and hit that, and that router will refer the DNS, which is where the red bus has been mapped with which IP address. Then it will go and hit that IP address. You can able to see the screen. Then after selecting so and so options and hit on it, what the red bus domain will do is it will send at a time to thousands of servers whoever been mapped with the red bus. instead of 1,000, let's go with 100. Hundreds of servers is going to hit at the same time parallelly. Okay, and then how good their server is going to be, based on that the response is going to be there. So you might have seen it, there might be a result, some results will be keep rotating it, meaning they are not up to the speed. It's look like there is a big end of technology, so they are delaying it to show you in the web page. Is it clear?
Yes, and is there as per the architecture, is there any model or any type as you shown in the picture, na? So to define any like tier or tier 2, something like that.
That is the development architecture. Okay, but for an API there is a separate architecture which is available, something like SOAP, REST, GraphQL, gRPC. So we'll see all maybe in upcoming slides.
Okay. Yeah.
And these are all the applications, daily usage applications. Everywhere you have a API, okay, but different API architecture that they are following it. We'll see that as well. Okay, these are all the office applications you might have encountered it. If you are a working professional, so obviously you might have seen any one cloud technology. If you're using if you are belongs to a testing team or a development team, there will be a project management tool, something like Jira, and UI automation. Even inside a Selenium, how it works is there is a API. Okay, because Selenium is only one library. I mean, most of my students are here and they know what is Selenium and how it will work. They know the Selenium is a multilingual language. So, I mean, you can just go and download the corresponding Selenium library based on your technology, what you are willing for Java or Python or C#. Based on that, you just download it. But the method that you're going to invoke is going to be same for all the language. Then how come it is working? Obviously using API. Okay, there is a API which is going to be transferred between a client and server. Okay, because Selenium is a client server architecture actually. And so how the industry is looking for, okay, now this is how they are doing a testing actually. So what they are doing it, development, which is from UI or UX design, developers start doing the development part. Okay, and developers will be doing some sort of testing. So what is the testing that they will be doing it? What is the testing that they will be doing it, developers?
Unit testing.
So unit testing will be done by the development team. Okay, and currently how it is happening in most of the industry. Okay, but most of the industry has already been changing it. Okay, already changed it. Okay, in most of my current, maybe more than 50% of an industry, directly they will go for the UI automation or UI functional testing. That is what they will be going for, right? But if you see in a development itself, there is a two layer that they have to develop, which is one is a front end development and another one is a back end development. Meaning, whatever, for example, if you click on a button, what will happen? Which they are going to do some manipulation. So they are going to write down the API first. So they will be read. I mean, in development, they will write the API first. Then only they will go for the UI development. Okay. So obviously there is a delay for us actually. So after development, we will be waiting until we are getting a UI. Then only we can start proceeding with our testing. That can be a functional testing or a UI automation. Whatever we have to wait for some time because our UI is not ready. Okay. But going forward, it is not required. You have to wait for something. If develop, yeah, I mean, like I told, API is that API development is going to happen at first. Then only UI development is going to come for you. Okay, and the API, it is so easy for them to develop and build it and give it to us for testing. So currently we are doing unit testing, then this very small percentage of API testing, if there is some industry that they are following it, and majority we are doing a UI testing. But this is going to be transferred something like this actually. But I don't agree this much of unit testing is going to happen. No, obviously the unit testing might be something close to 20 to 30%. Okay, API is going to be 50%, balance 30% is going to be UI testing. You cannot neglect the UI testing by anywhere, because UI testing, UI is the one which is going to sit in front of you. Any person, which is whoever customer is going to be, they can only see an UI. So UI testing is being needed, but not something like 90%. So it is going to be reduced to close to 32, maybe like they mentioned 5%. It might vary, okay, but minimum 30% will be there. But the API percentage is going to be majority going forward. So all the functional perspective you can complete in API. Okay, I'm going to show you now in some time. I will show you the demo. Okay, so this is the transformation that the industry is looking for now. Fine. What are the advantages of an API testing? Okay. Okay, let's compare this with the UA testing, what you guys are doing it. Okay. While doing a UA automation, what all hiccups you might be getting it? UA automation பண்ணும்போது what all issues you will be seeing it? என்னெல்லாம் பார்ப்பீங்க? என்னென்ன issues you might have seen it?
Like server error.
Why you will be having a server error? Server error?
Sometimes it will happen like and 401 unauthorized.
No, you are saying a API perspective. I'm asking you from the UI testing perspective.
Input validation.
Sorry, input validation. If you go with any UI automation, what all issues you might have facing it? என்னென்ன errors இருக்கலாம் UI automationல in Selenium especially? Quite guys. What all errors you might have seen it? Automate பண்ணும்போது என்ன error பாத்தீங்க real timeல? While doing an automation, what all dependencies are there for doing an UI automation? Okay, for when you're going to interact with an element, what you need it at first? If you want to interact with an element, what you need it at first? Anyone?
Yeah, locator is mandatory, right?
Locator is mandatory, right?
Yeah.
You might, that locator might change, right? Because of that locator, there might be a failure, correct?
Yeah, we received errors, no such element.
Perfect. That's what I'm
yeah.
asking it. That's what I'm asking it. So you'll be having no such element exception. If the window is not there, no window exceptions actually. There might be an exception, something called element is not clickable, which is element might be there, but it is not clickable. Something like if you go to actions concept, after keeping your cursor on top of it, then only the element is ready for you to click. In such case, you are going to see a element not clickable operation. There is something called scale element reference exceptions actually. So that is one exceptions you might have seen it very frequently, right? And timeout exception. So there are a lot of exceptions, which is there are a lot of dependencies are there when you go and start writing your automation. And if you execute it, that might be a failure because of the synchronization. Your server might be slow by the time, obviously your script will fail, right? This much of dependency is there. Yes, no.
Yes.
Okay, but if you go and do your testing using API, like I told early testing, which is it is not required. You have to wait for the UI to be delivered to you. Okay, rather once the API development is done, you can directly pick that API and start working on it, saying that okay, if I provide all this information, let's see whether the product is being submitted for me, or registration is completing for me, anything what or insurance claim is submitted for me, whatever testing you are doing it, whatever application you are doing it, ticket reservation is completed for me through API, right? So you can do that functionality. So in API I should have a 10 mandatory fields. Let's fill all the 10 mandatory fields and submit it whether it works. If I miss any mandatory fields, what is the error that I'm going to get it? So you can do all sort of testing before UI comes. That's nothing but the early testing. Okay, when talk about the time efficiency, if I'm going to execute my I'm going to execute one scenario now. Okay, that scenario has been designed by my student actually. So I have used our code now for a demo purpose. So it is a plain script actually. There is no framework has been injected in it, but it is a plain script. Uh, some places we might have some hard weight actually. So I will show you. Okay. So if I execute that scenario, it might come close to 50 seconds to 60 seconds. Okay, for completing one cycle of execution, one test case. Okay, but the same thing if I try to hit using an API, it's going to be some seconds. I will tell you some nanoseconds, I can say. Okay, so that much of time efficiency is going to be there if you go and adapt your API testing. Okay, but see, I'm not asking you to avoid the UI testing. The percentage of the UI testing what we are spending, it's too large actually. So on a day basis, it's going to be come down now. Okay, it will slowly come down. Okay, and the cost efficiency in the perspective of we are starting our testing early in the life cycle, and if you identify the defect a bit earlier than UI has been delivered, so obviously the cost, I mean the defect fixes is going to be lower than the defect which we are finding later stage, right? So through which there is a cost efficiency is going to be engaged for us. Language independent. So API is depends on the technology languages, but sorry, UI testing is depends on some of the languages. Even in Selenium, okay, if you're going to write down a code, okay, and if you want to execute in multiple browser, do you want anything to be updated in your code? Is it needed? Any line of code has to be rewrite when we go to execute the same script in multiple browser? Yes, no? Yes, no?
Can you please repeat one second?
The question is, I have written a code, okay, and I want that code to be executed with 3 different browser, okay. So is there any code changes that I have to do it to execute my code in Firefox or Chrome or Safari with multiple browsers? Is it needed? Is it needed?
No.
Yeah, one line of code has to be updated, right? Which is maybe with the Selenium latest version 4. After 4.6 it is not needed, but until that at least you have to update your driver, and you have to provide a, if you're going to kickstart your Firefox, you have to put Firefox. If you want to kickstart the Chrome, you have to put Chrome. At least one line of code has to be updated if you want to execute a script in browsers, correct? Yes, no?
Yeah, it's correct.
Yes, ma'am.
For OS,
OS it is not needed, but there is certain restrictions from your browser perspective as well, right? In your previous version of your Selenium, tomorrow Chrome 115 is going to come. Obviously, you have to update your driver, right? There is a dependency. But if you go for a UA automation, sorry, if you go for an API automation, there is no dependency on top of it. A single script can be run in any time. Today it will run, after 5 years also it will run. There is no dependency at all. Okay, that much of dependency, sorry, independent will be there in API testing, whereas in UI there is a lot of dependency. A script which works before, if you want to execute now, obviously there is a quite number of changes that you have to do it, because that might be impact in performance and that might impact your code as well. Okay, and the final advantage is easy integration. Like I told, you can, I mean, if I want to hit it from the Postman, which is one of the tool, I can do it. If I want to hit it from the from CE pipeline, I can do it. For example, I'm executing, I have built a pipeline from Azure, okay, and I want to, I have to automatically, once my Azure is failed, I want to create a ticket automatically in Jira. So is there a possibility? Yes, of course, is there a possibility? So Jira is running, Jira at the backend, it is running with an API. So if there is a failure, you can automatically detect it and you can ask your Jira to create a new ticket through an API. So it is very easy to integrate with different technologies, different applications. Is it clear with an advantages of an API, guys? Okay, so let's come over here. Okay, there is a two terminology. I mean, one person is asking this question, which is there any dependency? So through API, there is no dependency actually. There is two terminology here. One is a web service and another one is a API. Okay, and there is something called microservice as well. Okay, so like I told, API can be integrated with, I mean, in web server. Web server means with the help of an internet. Okay, if you try to open anything which is nothing but a web application, right? So at the back of web application, there might be an API, or without an internet as well, there is an API working for you. Okay, example, since most of you guys are from Selenium background, forgot about the Selenium. Okay, I just want to interact with an Excel to for read the data and write a data. Do you need an internet connection? Yes, no.
No.
First of all, what is the library that we have to use to interact with? I mean, if I want to interact my code with Excel, anyone remember what is the library? What is the library? Okay, there is a library called Apache Poi, right? Apache Poi. Okay, so there also you have an API only. It is not required that you should be in internet actually. So your Java code can directly interact with an API library which is Apache Poi, and it can get the response back. So API will be presented in multiple places. Okay, but if you call web service will be part of that API. So if API has been implemented only using an internet, then we can call that as a web service. If the API has been implemented either in web service or in window application, like I told the example, right, Apache Poi. So that is general API. So web service is a subset of API. I can call it something like that. Okay. In microservice, there is another category, something called microservice, which is altogether a different technologies. Okay. So maybe if we start discussing on it, it will keep going on. So let's go to next slide. Okay. So like I told, these are all the different architecture which is presented in a API. Okay. So the marked one are more popular actually. Okay, so rest is so popular and most of the companies are using a REST. Okay, and now there is something called GraphQL. If there is a huge amount of data to be transferred, huge amount of data, okay, something like Facebook, I mean, this has been built by I mean, the GraphQL has been built by Facebook, and now it is an open source. No one is maintaining it. It is maintained under open source community. GraphQL. Okay, uh, LinkedIn, Facebook, LinkedIn, all are using a GraphQL, because wherever you have a huge amount of data has been transferring it. Okay, Google Map, everything is built with GraphQL. Okay, and gRPC. Okay, something like Netflix. Okay, so for streaming those stuff, they might be using a gRPC. So there are multiple architectures which is there in API. So this is all the most popular one, and when or which year they have developed it. Okay, most popular is RESTful service. Okay, and here I just mentioned something about SOAP and REST. Because of time constraint, I don't want to go in much deeper, and most of the terminologies are new for you guys. Okay, so let's leave that now. So if you go to an API development, only there is a for method. Okay, they will call this as a CRUD method. Okay, CRUD, create, read, update, and delete. So they will be mapping that with get, post, put, and delete. Okay, so Those are all the 4 methods that they do have it. If you go and develop the API in any technology, they can only use this 4 technology. 4 method. Either it can be a get, post, put, and delete. Okay. And again, this is more technical actually. So what the get is going to do? Get means you're going to retrieve the data. If you're going to enter into the, after you log into the Flipkart or Amazon, what they will do, they will just retrieve the existing informations. Depends on you, what order you submitted, what order you placed, everything is going to be captured by them. Okay. Okay, this is really interesting. Okay, I told you something about contractual document between the provider and consumer, right? Between the provider and consumer, there is a contractual document. So only these types of errors are there. Not like a UI, there is a huge number of errors, either from the Java perspective, Selenium perspective, framework perspective, something like TestNG, Cucumber. There is a different bunch of errors are available. But in API, all are only this error codes. Okay, any error code belongs to 100, it is nothing but an informational. I cannot say error code. The communication code what they are having in a between provider and consumer. Okay, if anything related with an 100 series, then it's going to be an information. If anything on 200 series, then you can say it is a success one. If anything on a 300 series, then it is going to be a redirect, meaning after going to that application, some application will be redirecting to some other portal, right? So that will be falling under the 300 category. Okay, and anything related with 400 called as a client server, client side error. Okay, and anything which is related to 500, which is nothing but the server side error. Okay, some of it is, we might have seen most popular is 401 unauthorized. You will be entering your user ID and password and it will say, hey, you are not authorized. So by the time you might be getting a 401, or sometimes you'll be getting a 403 as well. Okay, I will tell you the difference later, not now. And the 500, you will see an internal server error. Maybe your server might be down because of patching or any such things. Okay, 503 service unavailable. Whatever service that you're looking for, which is having some issue, or that server alone is not available, so you will be getting 503 kind of stuff. Okay, and this is what how the API will look like, guys. Okay, in this is nothing but your domain name. Domain means Google, which is www.google.com. That is nothing but your domain name. So here api.getpostman.com is the domain name actually. Postman is the domain name. .com is, they are indicating it is a commercial one. Okay, it is a commercial one. It is not org. Okay, org means organizational, free of cost. So Postman is a commercial one, and inside that there is a endpoint called workspace. Nothing but a folder. That's all. Folder. Inside that folder there is another folder called ID. So that is nothing but the API. This is how the API will look like. Okay, if you are not providing anything, by default it is a get URL. Okay, but when you transfer it, either out of this 4 method, one will be there, either get or post or put, patch and delete. Out of this 5, any one will be there actually. Okay, and this is quite interesting actually, authentication and authorization. Okay, quite simple. If I want to tell it in a one-liner, authentication means when you enter into office, you need ID card. You need a ID card. So without ID card, you are not permitted to enter into the premises. That is nothing but an authentication. Okay, authorization means with that ID card, whichever cabin you can go for, right? So everybody will not be, if I'm working for Cognizant, obviously I will not be having an access to enter into all premises, right? There can be a server cabinet, or there can be my friend might be working in different premises, different account. I cannot have an access to enter into that. So authentication means whether you have access to that application or not. Authorization means whether you have a privilege to provide that or not. Okay, inside your application itself, there might be a different role, admin role, user role. There might be a different role for it, right? So that represent the authorization. Okay, so you should understand these two terminologies. So these are all the authentication techniques, guys. So there are a lot of authentication techniques which is there. All are more deep technical one actually. Some places, I mean, for example, if you go and access the Google Map, there is no authentication record, right? So if you just click on a map, it will tell you whether where you are, where you have to travel. It is not record that you have to log in into it, right? So that is nothing but the no auth actually. That is something called no auth. There is a lot of application in market for which authentication is not required at all. Okay, and there is something called basic auth, which is your login to Gmail, right? You have to enter your user ID and password, which is nothing but the basic one. Okay, and there is something called bearer, which is token kind of stuff. Okay, something like if you go to hotel, there is something called wallet parking, right? So for some cars, they will be providing a valid key itself, meaning with that key what they can do it, with that key they can only start the car and stop that car. They cannot open the dashboard, all those stuff, because we are handing over a key to someone else who we are not aware of them, right? We cannot give our I mean, if they are getting our car key directly, with that car key they can open a dashboard or they can open a dicky, whatever they want, they can open it, and that can be some stolen might happen, right? But there is something called valid key, which is temporary one. Okay, just to go and start and stop, that's what you can do it. So that kind is nothing but the bearer token, something like the code which you are getting in your mobile phone. Once you logged in, there is some OTP is going to be received for you. It is going to be short term actually. So if you enter that within 5 minutes, the expiry date is going to become for you. Okay, so that is nothing but the bearer. Okay, and digest is not there, which is kind of basic actually, but the algorithm they are going to use it in digest is something different. OAuth is more popular. I will show you with an example. So OAuth is more popular. You might have seen something like this actually, right? In a LinkedIn login, they will be giving an option for you to log in using Gmail. Have you seen this, guys?
Yes.
Does LinkedIn and Google both are same company? Obviously no, right? But how they are permitting it actually? Okay, so this is nothing but the authorization. Okay, you are saying it is not required that you have to register with us. If you have a Gmail account, I mean, you can provide your Gmail user ID and password. We can authenticate through Gmail. So how this process has been done, we will be seeing that as part of our session. Okay, this is how the complete process will be working on. Complete process, the OAuth, how it will be developed from the developer perspective. Okay, and finally, what all tools are there for an API? There are a lot of tools which is available in market, and most popular we are going to see a Postman, and since we are going with the Java, we are going to see a REST Assure as a library for Java. So these two tools will be covered as part of our API training. Okay, so let's quickly see a demo. So some might have heard about this URL, which is nothing but the Salesforce, okay, where you can create tickets, leads, opportunities, anything you can do it. Okay, this has been developed by one of my student. Okay, so let me quickly run this coding and see how much time it is consuming to complete their work. Same thing I have done it in API. I will show you how much time it's going to be completing through API as well. So it's going to kickstart my Chrome browser, navigating the URL, maximizing it, entering my credential, waiting for the page rendering to happen. Note this point. So it's going to traverse to a place. Go and provide some option, select some option, enter an opportunities, go and create an opportunity. Wait that to be reflected over here. So it is waiting for it actually. It is reflecting to reflect, and finally it has to come out of it. So you will see this much of time it is consuming, close to 52 seconds. So totally it is 52,000 milliseconds. So you can say it is close to 45 to 50 seconds, because there might be some hard wait as well. So it might take between 45 to 50 seconds. Okay, same opportunity. Okay, if you go and see, so this is a new opportunity which just created it. Okay, so now the same opportunity I'm going to hit using a API. So let's rename this as demo. Let me send the request. So just see totally 266 milliseconds, which means 0.2 seconds it's consumed. So it is created actually. So if you just go and hit it, demo has been created for you. Can you see the difference? 50 seconds, 0.2 seconds. Anything, lead. If I want to create a lead, okay, if I want to create a lead into it, maybe I will just put okay, and just hit it. That's all. It's consumed 300 milliseconds, which is 0.3 seconds. Okay, if I just go to lead, there should be something called Raghav just now created for you. You understood the difference, guys? Now it is open for you to ask any sort of questions, guys. Any sort of questions.
And actually in headers, I can see the 10
Sorry, headers?
inside the header.
Mm-hmm.
So is everything is compulsory for an API request?
It is not. Based on the method, it will vary actually. Some of it from the postman itself, which client it is interacting with. Postman is one of the client actually. So your server is supposed to know from where I'm getting this call. So for that, some of the client will be there. For this application, the content type is mandatory because you are sending a body, okay, and authorization is mandatory. So these two are mandatory. Rest everything is inbuilt to the system. It is not mandatory.
Okay, so without that also we can send the request.
Yes. I mean, some which is I told you right, from postman token, this is mandatory, which is it is not required for us to provide. Postman itself will generate for you.
Okay, this postman token
Correct.
calculated when request is sent. Okay.
This is how much size, I mean, response that we are getting it. What is the you will see it here. The response size is something like 58 byte, right? So only it's saying it. So it will be calculated when the request is sent. So there is no value for it, which is precise value for it, that it might vary.
Okay.
Any other questions, guys? I'm getting a question from only one person. Any questions from the APA perspective, or those who are having a work experience, where we can implement, how we can implement, anything, something like that?
And can you show the body? In body, we can see many types. So non-form data.
Yeah.
So how we can declare, like for this particular request, we require raw. and for this request, we need binary.
Correct. I told you, right, which is a contractual document between the provider and consumer.
Consumer.
That will be there actually. So what type that I will be expecting on. So if the provider is accepting only JSON, then you have to provide only JSON. If you pass your body in XML, they will not accept that. They will tell, I don't know what you're sending. So can you send it in JSON? So everything is based on what your contractual document described. So if your contractual document says don't send it as a raw, just send it as a URL encoded, which is all the value whatever we are passing, it should be encoded into it actually. Is it answered your question?
Yeah, and suppose can we use this Postman to like any of the website by our own in our system?
Yes, yes, yes. Any application you can use it for a free of cost.
So at the time, like for example, now I'm hitting a Google website. In that, I'm posting some in search bar. I'm sending some of the variables. So, so how I can take all those things to the postman, like for body,
Okay,
just
like
as
I
you
told
mentioned,
again, the answer is going to be same. Okay,
the
which is
client depends on the client. Okay, but
your
it's
contractual document. Okay,
mm,
but how come that I can see whether there is a see, I'm going to tell you here. Okay, see, if you go to the F12, okay, there is a developer tool which is there for you.
mm,
Okay, so here, let me bring it down. So here you will be having something called network. Okay, so in network, if you perform any operation, okay, if you selected all, it will bring all the transaction what is happening it. Okay, if you just selected fetch only the XHR, which is whatever transaction is happening using a service which is API, only that is going to be tracked for you. Okay, for example, see, if I click on new, when I click on new, how many calls which is happening at your backend, right? So if I select this, you can see, one second. Keep in a new screen. Okay, so you can see what payload that I'm sending it. Payload means what request I'm sending it and what is the response that I'm getting it. So those informations you can see it in network itself. There are multiple ways. I mean, this is one of the free way that they are giving it. If you're going to use it in Postman also, there is something called Postman interceptor is there. So using which you can track whatever service that being interacted by the system. You can just track that as well. Got your answer?
yes, yes, yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions from you, please? Okay. Any questions from anyone, guys? Last call. Okay. Over to John. John, you there?
Yeah, thank you very much, Bharat.
Yeah.
Thanks team for joining. So we have shared the participation certificate link in the comment section. Please share your details to get the certificates. And also we are planning to conduct regular webinars on every weekend. So please stay connected. So those who are already in the WhatsApp group, all the informations, recordings and the documents will be shared to them. So I'm also sharing the WhatsApp group link in the comment section. Those who are not in, please join the group as well. So thanks for joining and all the very best.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was a good section.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks all.